Hey writers and book lovers alike, welcome back to You Can Write Too. I'm your host Aléce, and for today's video I'm doing something a little bit different than what I've done before, and I'm actually going to start having me and my mom's channel be a booktube channel. I've done it a lot, or authortube. I've done it a lot as of maybe last year is when I started at least doing shorts of books that I've read, and if you hear any noises, apologies, but that's just my family. And yeah, so I have, obviously I read a lot of books behind me. I have a lot of books on my bookshelf, except for the bookshelf that's right behind me because other things are in there, but I have 3 shelves that are filled with books that I have either read or are currently reading. I think there might be a few up there that are, DNF books, but I mean, I don't think it's much of those. But anyway, today I thought it would be fun, let me stop my rambling, and actually talk about the Christian fiction books I have either read or haven't finished but have started, and kind of my thoughts on them. They might be good thoughts, they might be bad thoughts, but yeah, I thought it'd be fun to do a little rec or don't recommend video for you guys. So yeah, before we get started, me and my mom have books available on Amazon, always linked in the description box down below. So please just check those out if you haven't already. To support fellow indie authors, we have a website that I am currently editing, and just adding some things to that. But we have a website, we have an Instagram, which is You Can Write Too, with underscores between each word. And yeah, so yeah, I'm really hoping to be a little more productive, a little more consistent in 2026. But yeah, let's just get started. So the first book on this list is actually The Happy Life of Isabella Bentley by Courtney Walsh. I know she's a pretty popular Christian fiction writer. She's a New York Times bestselling author, so I guess that shows her popularity level. And this book is basically about, it's been a minute, I think it's been almost a year. I think I read it early last year, but okay, basically she is a person that's a stickler for the rules. She does things the way she deems fit, but when she turns 30, she basically decides to buy a magazine that's called 31 Ways to Be Happy. So she tries to do this as a research project because she's like a university researcher. So she basically does all 31 ways to be happy in this magazine to kind of do a research project, but she wants to prove it wrong. So that's kind of the little idea here. This book, without spoiling anything, I didn't find any really faith, Christianity in it at all. If I'm remembering correctly, I don't think anyone's really a Christian at all. If anything, it might be this old guy she meets at the park. If he even is a Christian, because he might have maybe said one thing possibly, but the main character, no one else is really Christian, so I was kind of surprised. This is a clean, it has a moment of romance subplot between this other coworker. He was either a coworker or because he was coming in to assist on her project, basically. I can't remember if he was a coworker or just some guy that's kind of has connections to where she works, but anyway, I just felt like this book, yeah, I was kind of expecting a little bit more from it, and it wasn't really my favorite book. And I'm a big person where if I read a Christian fiction book, I want it to be truly Christian fiction. I want it to truly talk about God. This book was of course she became a better person and stuff, but it just didn't, I just thought that they were going to mention happiness comes from God, comes from Jesus Christ, but they didn't connect that, which I felt was a very, I guess, easy way to input God, because she wanted a happier life, or wanted to disprove that the book would bring her happiness. So I felt it was all going to be about Christ being her happiness, but I don't know. This book was just okay to me. I didn't rate it on Goodreads or anything. I do have a Goodreads account, but I don't really rate books like that. Only certain ones and sometimes, but I don't think I'd recommend this. I would recommend this to someone that just wants a clean book, that is written by a Christian author. But if you're looking for Christian fiction books that really talk about Christ, I would not recommend this for that reason. The next book is The Atlas of Untold Stories. First of all, I really love this cover, but it's by Sarah Brunsvold. I hope I pronounced that right. And this is about a mother and her 2 adult daughters, going on a trip across the country. And I think it's a map at the beginning, if I'm remembering correctly. And maybe, possibly, maybe not. Okay. Oh yeah, I was right. Okay. So here's like the map. So they're not going cross the country. I did not. They're just going to a couple of different states in the Midwest. Is what it looks like. Um, and basically they go on this trip because the youngest daughter, I cannot remember her name. Okay, Chloe is the youngest daughter, and she basically kind of wants to get this job. I'm pretty sure she got this job or internship. Again, I read this probably in like April or May of last year, so it's hard for me to remember like every single detail. But yeah, so she accepted a low-paying art instructor role at a Christian school in Prague. So I hope I'm pronouncing that right, or maybe it's Prague. I think it's Prague, but anyway, which that's like kind of the little sister is a Christian. No one else, if I'm remembering correctly, is really a Christian like that. So I thought it was gonna like implement more of her changing her family, which I could be wrong. The mom might have been a Christian. It's so hard to remember because it's been so long. But I remember I thought it was gonna be more Christian elements in this book, and it wasn't as much as I wanted. But it was more than the happy life of Isadora Bentley because the little sister would, if I'm remembering correctly, like talk to God in her head in certain moments. And so definitely it was a lot better than the other book. And a lot better than a lot of Christian fiction that I have read. And I say that because there's a few, at least two Christian fictions that I've read that I don't have in this pile because I DNF them. But those books again didn't really talk about God like that, especially one. Like one did not have like I was really surprised that it was a Christian fiction book at all. But anyway, and so I wasn't a fan of I liked Chloe, I liked the mom, their mother, but and I liked their dad as well, but the older sister I was not a fan of and I cannot remember her name. Lauren, yeah. Her sister's Lauren, and she was just so like so she was originally like basically the responsible sister, and then she has a moment in the book where she kind of just does the complete opposite of everything she's believed in because I think she's just kind of had enough. She lost her job, um, and things like that, and so she kind of just gets into this whole rebel energy. And I thought she was going to, I guess, change in the book. Like, okay, she doesn't have to be like this daughter that everyone has to rely on since obviously that wasn't the person she always wanted to be, or she felt like she had to become that person. But I just thought she was gonna grow as a character in the book and kind of be like, okay, so I shouldn't be rebelling because I disagree. I should be getting better. Like she got, I guess, a little better, but yeah, I was not a fan of that character. But what I did like was that the book was in three different perspectives, all in third person, but it was between the mom and the two daughters, which was fun. I thought that was really interesting because I've never read a book where it was like the main characters were all family, um, especially like a mother and her two daughters. I thought that was really creative. I would recommend this if you want like a little cozy book about family that has a little bit of Christian I guess faith based energy within it. I definitely like this more than The Happy Life of Isadora Bentley, but it was a little like one plotted. Like in my opinion, like it was kind of like the whole time. Well, once they get on the road trip, it was kind of just them on the road trip for the rest of the book. But that's just a personal preference. I do think it does. It was a Christian book, so yeah. Interesting. So hopefully I'm explaining these books good because I've never done like a video like this fully on. Well, I guess I've kind of filmed one, like two of them, but like I don't know. This is a little more is a little different for me. I don't know. This book is Red Rain. So this is my favorite. That wasn't written by me and my mom. My favorite Christian fiction book. I haven't read too many Christian fictions, but this one. Do not let this like size because I know some people might be turned off because it's not as like thick as, for example, He Should Have Told the Bees, which I'll talk about later. Like side by side, but trust me, this is more, I would say, like, the other two books, I would say, is more just, like, adult Christian fiction. This is more young adult because the character is a teenager, and she's, how old is she? She's 16. This book, okay, I like to describe it as almost like a sci-fi, like, fictional revelation. Does that make sense? Like, based on the Book of Revelation, but, like, a sci-fi twist to it. And so basically, the Earth is ruled by a one world government, and anyone that doesn't take, basically, they call it, what do they call it? I cannot remember what they're called. I don't, oh, okay, so they have to be assimilated, and so that's when they deny their religion, their national and racial identities to just kind of become one with everyone else in a one world government. And so Philadelphia, which is so cute, I actually really find interesting is that a lot of the characters in the book, especially like the main character's family, they're all like named. Actually, I don't think the dad is, but her and then her brother that they talk about in the book. I cannot spoil. I was about to say. Well, I guess they talk about this in the very beginning. Her brother does it mention this. Uh Oh yeah, her brother. So it says, okay, let me just read this part. The remote research base seems like a haven of tolerance until she discovers it's the same base where her brother mysteriously died 2 years before. So I thought that was going to be a spoiler, but I forgot it's on the back of the book. So her brother, I can't remember his name. They mentioned it in the beginning, but I can't remember his name. But her and her brother's names are like named after cities. So obviously her name is Philadelphia and her last name is Smyrna, which are both cities. So I thought that was really cute. I don't know. I thought that was like really unique. But anyway, so her and her dad are basically, they refuse to assimilate. So they're basically in these like, I don't really know what you would call containment camps. Okay, thank you. It explained it for me. So they went to like school where the schools would still be trying to indoctrinate them, try to convince the children to be assimilated, to, be able to live normal lives because they don't get to go into the real world. It's like this kind of, I think there's either a fence or a wall unless positive separating them from everyone else. And so the only time they really see anything else, I think, is when they're on the school bus. And so basically her dad gets this opportunity to go to Mars. And they tell him he has to go because he's a scientist. So he's working on some science experiment or project for the government. And so they take him and his daughter up to Mars, which just kind of opens doors to a lot. Like, I cannot say too much about this book without spoiling it, but this book was a surprise because I stumbled upon it on Amazon, and yeah, this book is just so amazing, so beautiful. And this author, Rachel Newhouse, is not afraid to talk about Jesus in this book, which I loved. I love being able to turn the page and really believe that this character is a Christian and this character is trusting in God with her future. And I just found it so amazing and so beautiful. And it's just, I cannot recommend Red Rain enough. And the beautiful thing about Red Rain is that it's a series. I think it's about 7 or 8 books. And with that, I have the second book called Crook Q on here. And I absolutely loved this book. This is one of my favorite books. I think I rated them both a 5-star. If anything, this might be the 5-star. This might be the 5-star, and then Red Rain might be a 4-star, but I think they're both 5 stars because I was just so surprised by how creative these books are. And I can't really talk about this book without accidentally spoiling things for the first book. But there's about, I think, 7 or 8 at least in this book series, and then she has novellas in between them. So she'll have like Red Rain 1.5, which I've not read those because I think they're only on Kindle, and I don't have a Kindle. So I don't even read on there, but amazing. Like, these books, I cannot recommend these enough. And yeah, and they take place a year from each other because I'm pretty sure, based on the back of the book I just looked at, or a couple of months. But yeah, just very, 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 very beautiful book, and you definitely need to read these in order to understand, because it's definitely a chronological series. And the next book I'll be talking about is He Should Have Told the Bees by Amanda Cox. This book I saw at Barnes & Noble's so many times. I so desperately wanted to read this book. I wanted to, like, I don't know, I really thought this book was going to be really amazing. And so it's about this girl named Beckett Walsh, and she's living on this farm with her dad, and she's a very isolated person. She's been living, like, with her dad basically her whole life. She barely ever has, if she's ever, I'm not even sure if she ever has, but if she has gone off of this farm, it may have been like a handful of times. And so her dad, oh, she's in her 20s. I cannot remember how old she is though. Anyway, it might be like mid-20s. I don't think she's in her 30s, but anyway, it's been a minute. It's been like, I think 2 years since I've read this book, so bear with me. But basically her dad ends up dying, which is unfortunate. And so she is sent to this, like, they go to this office where she has to like read his will. And so she's there, and then there's some other girl mysteriously there, and she, if I remember correctly, which is Callie is the girl's name, and she is in the it's his trust. I'm so sorry. I think it's also within his will, but okay, so apparently, yeah, okay, so I was remembering this right. So yeah, so this other girl that Beckett doesn't know, whose name is Callie, is in her dad's trust, and they own, it's like 50-50 with the property, I'm pretty sure. And so Beckett's confused, Callie's confused because she's like, I have no idea who this guy is, why would he put me in his trust? And Callie's mom has re-entered her life, and so I'm pretty sure her mom needs help, like, financially, and so she wants to sell the farm because she's like, okay, so if she were to get half of this money, then all her financial issues would go away, and she'd be able to help her mom as well. And well, Beckett doesn't want to sell the property because that's where she lives, obviously. So, it was a slower paced book, but I did enjoy it at first. There's like a very, 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 very small romance subplot in this book. I say small because it's like very pure, very clean. And both characters have love interests, but I don't even really remember if Beckett's really with the guy at the end. And then Callie is, but it's a very like light. Like honestly, I do not think it was necessary in this book at all because that's how kind of small it was in my opinion. Like they were reoccurring characters, but it wasn't really anything worth, I don't know, telling home about, I guess. I did, but yeah, I just don't think it was necessary in this book. But I'm a person that never thinks romance is really necessary in most books, so I might be biased in that way. But there was really a part of this book that I did not like, which was like the scene where it explains basically why this girl was written in his will, why she was in the trust. And yeah, I just really wish that was done a little differently. I really, really, really did not like that. I cannot say too much without spoiling it, but that was something I just thought that the author could have definitely done a different way because I didn't like the reasoning behind it. So I don't think I'd recommend He Should Have Told the Bees for that one reason. It wasn't a bad book in general. It was just okay. I just think it was definitely a very slow-paced book with kind of the same plot the entire time, which I like books with multiple plots, or at least subplots to kind of, I don't know, add the stakes, lower the stakes, just let little different things take place. But anyway, that's all I'd say about He Should Have Told the Bees. And this is my mom's book that I have to recommend, obviously, which is The Anointeds, The Hartford's Deception by T.H. Land. And this book is a Christian fiction middle grade fantasy. I would say that anyone can read it. I'm 20 years old and I love this book, so I think that kind of shows how interesting it is. But it's about these twin sisters named Skylar and Zoe, and they get trained by their grandma V in the supernatural and with God's help. So they learn different things like referring to faith and being able to transform a tree into a living being and just fun things like that. And yeah, so they're also at one moment, and it says this on the back, so these aren't spoilers, but someone was able to actually stop time, which is just beautiful for a couple of seconds. But yes, and then they're basically kind of thrust into this world where there's these things called Javas, and then there's spirits, there's hazels, and even like a foul cat. Like this book is very, very interesting. And then they have these neighbors that move in, a few doors down, and Zoe is unsure about them. She just has like a bad feeling about them, while Skylar thinks they're sweet. And it's just, yeah, this book is just so, so, so beautiful. And I don't know. And then like their grandmother thinks a threat is coming, so that's why she trains them. And this book is just, it's so hard not to talk more about this book without accidentally spoiling it. But this book is just so beautiful. It's so amazing. It's just fantastic. And yes, maybe I am a little biased, but this book is just beautiful. And it is, the main characters are 5th graders, but this book is fantastic. And I love it so much. And I just think it's so beautiful. And I just, yeah, I don't know. I just find this book so beautiful and amazing, and I just recommend it to everyone that wants to read, that enjoys reading books. Please read this. It is fantastic. It's fantastic. Okay, so the next book I will be talking about is The Peasant King by Tessa Afshar, I think is how you pronounce her last name. And I can't talk too much about this because I have not finished it. I've had it for either a year or over a year, but to be completely honest, it was a little slow in the beginning, but it was fine. And then I honestly just forgot about it and kept buying new books. So I am gonna end up going back to this book, but it's, from what I can remember, it's about this girl whose mother, I think she has a brother. Yes. Oh, she has a sister. Okay, my bad. So I knew she had a sibling, but anyway, there is, she lives with her parents, and something happens. I cannot remember what happens, but her mother, for some reason, so I'm pretty sure this is like a historical fiction. Yes, it is a historical fiction. Okay. And so basically, when her mother, the Persian king's famous senior scribe, is kidnapped, Gemma and her sister must sneak undetected into enemy territory to rescue her, but infiltrating their adversary's land provides easier than escaping them. As they flee through dangerous mountain passes, their survival depends on the skills of a stranger they free from prison, a mysterious prince named Asher. And what's so cool about this book is it's the perspective between Gemma and Asher. He has his own perspective, which I love. and his dad is terrifying. That is one thing I remember, that his dad is very scary. But anyway, let me continue reading this, since I don't remember this too much. But Asher is not who the world believes he is. Despite his royal blood, he has had to climb his way out of poverty to forge success from nothing. A manufacturer of some of the best weaponry in the East, Asher has only one goal: to destroy his father. But following his escape from prison, Asher is irresistibly drawn to Gemma, unaware that she guards her own secret. Gemma must convince Asher to give up everything he's worked for, all for the sake of a higher purpose he's not sure he believes in. The fate of the Persian Empire and possibly the Judean people hangs in the balance and in the persuasive power of one ordinary woman. What I like about this is it actually is giving, like, each chapter, I think it might be just her chapters. I'm not sure if it's his chapters. But let me show you an example. Okay, so it actually, I guess it's backwards for you, but it opens up with scripture. So it says chapter 15, for the traitors have betrayed, with betrayal the traitors have betrayed. Isaiah chapter 24, verse 16. And so I really liked that when I saw this book, and when I realized it opens up with different chapters. I found that different scriptures for the chapters. I just found that very beautiful, and just an easy way to remind people that you're reading Christian fiction, which I love. And his dad, if I remember correctly, he was raised by his mom, and I can't remember what happened there, but for some reason he wasn't living on the royal throne for some weird reason. And so he's like in his rightful place, but I definitely need to reread this to look, or at least skim through it to see what I need to remember, because I'm only on page 56, so yeah. But she basically goes on a journey with her dad, sister, and some other guys to go and rescue her mother. And I just find it very interesting, and I'm wondering at this moment, why did I put this down, because I love this. So it's very, like, it's a slower paced book, at least the beginning, but it definitely has potential, so I'm gonna pick this back up and read it. So I cannot recommend this or not recommend it, but I'll let you guys know when I finish it, my thoughts. The next book I'll be talking about is my book, which is The Problem Solvers, The Disappearing Act by Aléce. This is so cute, look at that! Anyway, so this book is about this girl named Quinn Russell, and she, which I just came out with this book in December, so that's pretty cool. But anyway, and she's a part of this group, is the founder and leader of the group called The Problem Solvers with her 3 friends. And they just do little fun, little cute mysteries around their little town called Winston Wells, and like finding out what's in their teacher's drawer, just little fun things like that. But then her babysitter, which is Eli's mom, she tells them they should solve bigger mysteries, so they embark on this mystery where they have to find this woman named Miss Dune, her missing dog Lemon. And so that kind of opens a door for her and her friends to solve bigger mysteries around their little town, but she's unsure because her dad doesn't really fully approve of her mystery solving. But so she's unsure if this is the route she should go in, but she goes anyway, and it's just such a cute middle grade book. They're 5th graders, and I just found it so funny and so fun and cute. And I have Christianity filled throughout this book because I thought it would be really fun to just show kids like about God, about Jesus, about the Holy Spirit, for them to also ignore this is just a bookmark because my little sister's reading it right now. But anyway, I just thought it was a beautiful book to just show people God and showing that he works in mysterious ways, and I just really wanted to have a book for kids to be able to read and to just fall in love with God and Jesus as much as I have. And they can see these characters, as young as they are, truly trusting in God with their futures, and I love it so much. So I thought it was really fun to just make this little book, and I'm just so grateful and thankful that I was able to publish this. This is my first official Christian fiction book, but Humanities End Part 2 will be a Christian fiction novel, because I talk about the Bible and Humanities End, but not as much as I would have wanted to, so I'm excited for the second book. So the last book on this list is Death by Food Truck. But it's 4 different authors: Joy Copeland, Cynthia Hickey, Linda Baton Johnson, and Teresa Ives Lilly. So this book has 4 different stories in it. That's why it's so chunky. Okay, I don't even know how many pages does this even have. Yeah, it's over 410 pages. I didn't even realize that. Wow, I did not realize it was over 410 pages. So 412 specifically. Yeah, and this book had Christian fiction elements. I do think I want to reread this book because I was a little hard on it. And me and my mom both got this book, and so I read the first story. I really loved the first story, but although the ending was a little I wasn't really sure about, but I did enjoy it. And then the other three I didn't like as much, so I think I was a little biased to the first story. So I think I want to reread this just to see if it was actually worth it. They definitely had Christian elements in here, like really faith-based, like characters praying, asking God for help. Like I really enjoyed that. So this was a great first Christian fiction book that I ever read to relate into the get into the genre, which I was really grateful for. So I definitely want to reread this. So basically, it takes place. There's like this food truck. I think every day these food trucks go to like this part of the park or something. If I remember correctly, it's been a minute since I read this book. I might have read this in 2023 or early 2024. But anyway, and so each book, or I guess mini story, and each story in the book is basically about some food truck owner or someone like that's there during the food truck situation, and someone dies. So I think every time it was they ate the food and then they died, I think, or they might have just died while they were there. And so the detectives are like investigating, seeing who did this. In some of the stories, the main character in the story is actually being accused of the crime. I really, really enjoyed this. Especially the first story. The other three stories I did finish, so that shows that it wasn't terrible. I would recommend this because I think it's very interesting. It's like a murder mystery situation, but still kind of a light story. So for cozy culinary mysteries, I would agree with that. I would say it's definitely a cozy read, even though it's people are getting murdered in every story. But yeah, I think it's pretty good. And yeah, so I guess I'd recommend this because it wasn't horrible. So yeah. Um, and yeah, I definitely think this has to be one of my favorite Christian fiction books that I've read, just because I love that they are afraid to mention God and Jesus in these books. So that sums up the video for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Basically, yeah, just going over some Christian fiction books that I've read and my thoughts on them. If you guys want to see more videos like this, let me know in the comments down below. I think it's a lot of fun to be talking about books and to actually be a booktube channel as well as AuthorTube. So let me know any recommendations you guys have for Christian fiction books. Let me know if you've read any of the books in this list, if you want to read any of these books, and if you're interested in me and my mom's books, they're always on Amazon, either linked down below or on our homepage. You can click on our author pages to get transferred to just all of our books that are available on Amazon. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and always remember, you can write to you.